For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm SAFLII. SAFLII CEO Karina Pillay joins me today to discuss the Institute's funding drive. Tell us about SAFLII. What does SAFLII stand for? What is your vision and what are your main projects?
SAFLII stands for the Southern African Legal Information Institute. We believe that each and every citizen, each lawyer, has a fundamental right to free access to law. And we've seen a gap in this in terms of government not being able to provide this, and this is where SAFLII has stepped in to provide this service.
When was SAFLII established and how successful have you been in achieving your objectives?
SAFLII was established in 2002 at Wits University, started as a kind of like a demo project. And then at the Southern African Chief Justices Forum in 2006, there was a decision that the judges needed to put their judgments online and to be published. So SAFLII was recognized as the portal to be used for this platform. And then that's when the project moved to the Constitutional Court. And it was in the Constitutional Court that SAFLII grew momentum. When we went to the Constitutional Court, we had about 700 judgments. And when we left the Constitutional Court in 2013, we had about 50,000 judgments. So being at the Constitutional Court has been really good. It gave us the momentum that we needed to be established. Since December 2013, we moved to the University of Cape Town because there was a need to be at an institutional home. And that's where we've been since. So we're definitely growing in size. We are currently sitting at around 70,000 documents on SAFLII.
SAFLII is currently on a fundraising drive. Why is this?
It takes a lot of manual labor. It's to put a judgment online. We get the judgments from the courts. We've then got to follow a OCR process, which is the process of editing that we do in order to be able to publish this judgment online. So there's a lot of labor-intensive work that goes into it. SAFLII currently employs a staff complement of 3.5 people. We'd like to go to at least 6 people to provide enough services to the public, you know. In order for us to do this, we need to raise funds. And that's partly why we are on a fundraising drive, you know, and there's various projects that we're involved in as well that benefits our users. There's projects like Pocket Law, for instance, that we've developed. It's an offline resource of SAFLII, available in a USB stick. No internet access is needed, and it's fully updatable when there is internet access. You know, so you just click the update button and it goes back to SAFLII and draws the data that's missing from your USB stick. We're involved with JUTA on English translations of Afrikaans judgments, which we find to be a very useful resource for students in particular, you know, who need to be able to read the judgments but have difficulty with Afrikaans. I mean, Afrikaans isn't my first language, and I wouldn't understand most of what's being said in an Afrikaans judgment. Yeah, and then there's obviously other stuff that we're partnering with on other NGOs as well, like we're trying to liberate the government gazettes in collaboration with Code for South Africa. And all of these things, you know, we need to raise funding for.
Why should the public donate to SAFLII?
Because access to the law is fundamental to every citizen in South Africa. You know, we need to be able to read the law, we need to be able to understand the law, and it's a right of every single user, you know, to be able to access this information. And there isn't a day that goes by that SAFLII doesn't get a request from the general public, from non-lawyers, you know, saying, how can we access a judgment, or how can we access a piece of legislation? And all of this is on SAFLII, and we point them in the right direction.
How has SAFLII previously been funded?
SAFLII has always been donor funded. We've received donations from like the Open Society, the Carnegie Foundation, and recently, since we've moved to the University of Cape Town, we've been funded by the Vice Chancellor, you know, and we've been funded by Bowman Gilfillian, Edward Norton Rose, as well as ENS Africa. Okay, but we need to find more sustainable ways of being funded. So we'd like to engage the justice sector stakeholders, to sustain SAFLII, to support SAFLII, and to carry us forward. The misconception is that SAFLII is already funded by the justice sector stakeholders, but that isn't the case. And we often get asked the question, don't you guys receive funding from like the law societies, for instance? But that isn't the case, and this is why we're on a drive at the moment with the justice sector stakeholders, and we want to engage them and ask them to please come on board and support SAFLII.
What are the obstacles that the Institute is facing in terms of funding?
Well, as I just mentioned now, that being a donor-funded organization for the past 10 years, donors cannot keep sustaining us. We need to find support from the justice sector stakeholders, as their members are the main beneficiaries of SAFLII, and as such, the members are from the law societies, from the Bar Council, from the Attorney Fidelity Fund, and students form a huge part of our database, and the University of Cape Town has stepped in where they can by the VC providing funding, by providing a home for us, office space and telephone usage and that kind of thing. But given the constraints right now in the educational sector, priorities are shifting. And so that is why we need to engage the justice sector and government to step in and support SAFLII. And as I've said, the general misconception is that the justice sector already supports us, but we need to really engage them more and get more support from them.
Karina, how can people donate to SAFLII?
We have a huge drive at the moment on social media. But on SAFLII's website itself, we have a donate page. You can either donate via credit card, you can do an EFT, we have a SnapScan functionality as well, and we even have a physical credit card machine. So, you can even pop around to our office and swipe your credit card.
How can people find out more about SAFLII?
Our website, www.saflii.org.
That was SAFLII CEO Karina Pillay discussing the Institute's funding drive.